welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica Foley. Along with me, we have our very own, like really you're just another host, you know, you might as well be. Mac Wade, of course, ladies and gentlemen, Port of Morgan City, he's the director there. Let's get into post-Ida. I mean, we were just speaking just a minute ago. We are thankful, we are blessed to be here at this moment because we could be like our neighbors to the east of us, but thankfully we are in a much better space. However, it doesn't mean that we don't know how it feels. And we're also just remarking about our residents and the community who actually helped our neighbors to the east who came in, who were evacuees, and actually going there to bring supplies and to bring food. So again, just we're thankful for the position we're in, but what were the effects of Ida and what was the impact on our community?
Danica, and I'm going to tell you, St. Mary really stepped up to the plate during Ida. We were spared. The way the crow flies on Google Earth, it's only about 25 miles to Thibodeau. They had 100-something mile-an-hour winds. We're only 27 miles from home. Say, oh, it's further than that. Not a straight line shot.
That's right.
That very well could have been us. But St. Mary, Morgan City, this whole area, the whole community, we were the support area. Those people didn't have anything. They had to come to Morgan City. And you heard, well, there was lines here, there were lines here. Thank goodness they were trying to get a gallon of milk, gallon of water, a loaf of bread. There was no bread between here and New Orleans. There wasn't a gallon of milk. Thank God Morgan City was able to stay online and support all those different, thousands of people. That very well could have been us.
Oh, yeah.
Ida caused a lot. Did it cause us any problems? Not those kind of problems. People didn't lose their houses or anything. But did it cause some? It's caused a big interruption in business, a tremendous interruption in business. It's caused a big interruption in our dredging program that we have going on right now. Ida also, the Coast Guard, they were disrupted. They have a big office in Houma. Those people all had to come over here. They were housed out of the EOC. In fact, Morgan City, they opened up the auditorium for the Coast Guard. They had about 100 people staying there.
Wait, and not just Houma. I mean, there's a
Grand Isle.
Yeah.
Just and New Orleans. People knew, well, it didn't hit New Orleans. They lost power and everything, and there was La Place is real close to New Orleans. We received, there were probably an extra 150 coasties here just from those areas. We had the Grand Isle Coast Guard Station. It was devastated, it was smashed, it was destroyed. You have about 70 coasties down at the Grand Isle. They have relocated all those people to our area as we speak. They're over at the port. They're in the old port offices, and they've also set up a camp over at the port. But Morgan City, you're right. The whole St. Mary Parish, the different church groups and everything that came to the aid of the citizens over there, made me proud to be a St. Mary resident. Very proud.
So, I mean, unfortunately, usually when there's someone's loss, there's another person's gain. So I'm wondering about, it's Port Fourchon. I mean, you kept hearing that on the radio, on the radio and on the TV stations, the Weather Channel. Were they affected to the point where we were able to gain business from them?
And it'll be some short-term gains, and it may wind up being some long-term gains. Chip Chasson is my counterpart down at Port Fourchon, David Rabelay's Houma. We were in contact doing all this, and I was let them know, is there anything we can do at the Port of Morgan City to assist y'all? Fourchon got shut down. They had a lot of devastation. It was bad. But they were able to reopen in about 10 days after the storm, as far as from Fourchon to the Gulf of Mexico, where the drilling rigs are. That part of the waterway was open. You couldn't go north. You couldn't get into the GIWW because it was clogged up, messed up. Houma, between here and Houma, you had a lot of damage as far as sunken vessels, and then on the Houma Nav, it was bad. They're starting to get those places cleared up, but the GIWW between here and New Orleans has still got problems. They've got dredges working on it. and they've had to bring in some specialty built dredges basically, because your traditional dredges like we use a lot, cutter heads, all this marsh grass was blown in. It plugs it up, so they had to bring in like dipper dredges to dip the stuff out. So much marsh grass and everything coming in.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause typically we use the cutter head.
Right.
So, okay.
But a lot of our businesses here have offices in Fushan. A lot of those people, they did start shifting stuff over this way towards Morgan City. A lot of boats came over here because we were the only channel open.
Okay. Now you mentioned dredges. I would definitely want to talk about dredges
Yes,
and
yes.
the multitude of dredges we're going to be in anticipation for. So come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast with yours truly. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. My guest for today is Mac Wade, the Port of Morgan City Director. Now, we were just talking, before we even get to talk about the dredges, because this is interesting. So, of course, we talked about Port Fourchon, but who's the backup, or what's the backup plan for New Orleans? I mean, where do those barges go?
Even though the storm had passed, we were still on calls because, like I say, Chafalaya River was the only one thing still left open to the Gulf. But on the calls, you had New Orleans on there. So, well, New Orleans didn't get hit that bad. Well, they didn't get hit as bad as South Louisiana, but when those power lines came down into the river, it shut that whole area down. There was no electricity. There were barges scattered up and down the Mississippi River. And I'm not saying a barge broke loose, but those big fleeting operations where they have several hundred barges, there were clusters of 20 barges loose, 10 barges tied together.
Did we not learn anything from Katrina? I mean, because this was not really a water event. This was a wind event, right?
There was and I don't know. The barge association, they were very much involved trying to kind of like corral all these things. I mean, like trying to get cattle herded back up. There were many barges sunk. Many of them were loaded with grain or empty. When the river made the storm surge, they had storm surge in the New Orleans area coming in from the Rigolets. The storm surge came up, and some of those fleeting areas, it floated the barges up on the bank a lot higher, and then the water, when it went rushing out, the barges got hung up on the bank. They're still to this day pulling barges off the bank. Barges out in the marsh. Down around Fourchon and Houma, there were shipyards that have dry docks. A dry dock, that's where you go to repair your boat. They sink the dry dock down. You pull your boat up on the dry dock. They pump the water out. The dry dock raises with your big offshore vessel on it. Those had broken loose down the bayou. It was many days before they could get, and we were trying to get surveys over here, and the Corps was wanting to come get a survey on the Chafalaya River because they knew people out of Fourchon needed to try to get their equipment out. So they brought it to Morgan City. A lot of our businesses, their sister companies are down there. So, a lot of people say, well, they're going to stay here. They're going to be here for a while, but a lot of our industries, all the way back out to Amelia, all the dry docks, they were already busy, but they got a lot of work to do. There was a lot of damage. Yeah. It's a terrible thing to say, but like I say, it was bad on some, but somebody still got to benefit it. And in our area, we're the only ones standing. There were no ports left open going back east. Fourchon.
And we're the first one you get to when you coming this way. So
that's right.
I mean, and it's just, we don't like to talk about it, but it's the truth. It's what's out there. It's the real deal. So we definitely hope and pray that our sisters and brothers can definitely can get back to where they were prior to Ida. But let's talk a little bit about $13 million of money that we got. I mean, to start dredging some of our areas.
Yes, Danica, right now, we currently, I think I mentioned last time, we do have 3 dredges running at this time. We have Great Lakes has a dredge running, we have Manson has a dredge running, and we have Bryce Civil Services has a dredge running. We have 1 dredge around Eugene Island, it's Cutter Head. Then we have an agitation and a hopper dredge working in the Bar Channel. Oh. Last week, I was on the conference call, the Corps, we have the 4th dredge that's going to be coming in. It's going to be called the Captain Frank. I was hoping to announce it's in the harbor right now. It's not. It won't be in here because it got delayed because it had to work the GIWW between New Orleans and Houma. It got on an emergency situation over there because it filled in, so they're having to dig it out so you can get barge traffic up and down our intercoastal waterway. Yeah. Then it's going to go to the Houma Nav, and it probably won't be here until maybe late November or December. Yeah. I'll come back and mention some more on the dredging when we get through.
What's so surprising about this is that typically we only have about 2 dredges running at one time, and we're going to have 4. So that's remarkable.
Yes.
We're going to come on back for our 3rd segment. Come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica Foley-Long, and with me we have Mac Wade, who is the director with the Port of Morgan City. Let's get back to talking about all these dredges. 4 of them, which is, again, remarkable. We've never had that. We've only had at least maybe 2, not even 3, I don't believe.
No, one might have been going, but never 3 working at the same time.
We're going to have 4 before the end of the year?
Yes.
Before the end of the year.
Yes.
So spending money on these dredges, but what do we get? What's the economic impact for us?
Danica, those dredges, those 4, we got over $30 million under contract right now with the 3 that are running. That will probably be expanded before it's over with. This 4th dredge that's coming in that's going to work Berwick Harbor up here, the Captain Frank, that's about a $7 million contract. We're pushing $40 million plus on dredges. You say, well, Mac, that's money you get from the government. I mean, what good does it do us? Well, it helps keep our channel open. That's a good thing. Well, is there anything else that goes along with that? Danica, when these dredges are in, or when these dredges are working, they burn a lot of fuel. A lot of fuel is being bought in this area. Those dredges, one of them has about a 35 to 40 man crew on it. Another one has about a 20 man crew on it. Another one has a 10 man crew on it. These dredges run 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. They don't come in every night and let you hop off and no, they feed you out there. So a tremendous amount of groceries to our local economy. Some of our vendors here in town are providing the groceries on that. The docks here are providing fuel on that. So it's not only us getting money from the government and we're giving it to all these dredging companies. Well, do they spend? And Danica, when these, I'm gonna back up 1 second, Hurricane Ida, it messed up. I thought we were going to be further along on our dredging, but when Hurricane Ida was apparent it was going to be a hurricane, it is coming into the Gulf. These dredgers are big machines. They got a lot of equipment that go along with it. They had to shut down a couple days ahead of time, and they did shut down. They came into our different docks and everything, put on more provisions. Then after the event was over, then the crews got to come back. It took we lost about 7 to 8 days because of Hurricane Ida. It wasn't because they messed up our channel, but when these crews come in, they could be from anywhere in the United States.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. Do we have any locals that are
there are on one of the dredges, I know they're local. That's Bryce Civil Services. Okay. They have local people. The other ones, these are, I don't want to say, Bryce is not a big company, but these other ones are big Wall Street companies, you could say.
So they bring their own crews?
They got their own crews and everything. Okay. They're union crew, but they spend a lot of money. And what else does the dredging industry do for us? I don't know if you realize there's 2 new dredges, not counting what we got, those are already built, everything, but there's 2 new dredges being built right now, one here in Morgan City, one in Amelia. probably around 25 million dollars is being spent on new equipment right here in Morgan City right now. People don't have a clue. That's on new construction. There's at least 5 dredges, just like we have working offshore with us, that are in our shipyards that are going through repairs. Many millions of dollars a month being spent. And when you have a dredge in the shipyard, a lot of them, they'll send the crew, but you got to have inspectors. Before Ida, half our hotels would have been tied up with inspectors that are working on, that are doing the dredge work and everything.
Now, I have to transition a little bit because while it does have a pretty good local impact, I mean, they're spending money in St. Mary Parish,
Yes.
in Morgan City, but what about securing those companies to start utilizing our waterways? You have about 30 seconds.
Yes, Danica, that's a good question. We have been, I got to have the channel open. We've had, I had to turn down a shipment of salt last week. They were wanting to come in with about an 18 to 19 foot draft with this hump we have down there right now. I can't advise them to come in. We only got about 14 foot, so we're waiting on that. Then they'll come back, but I told them to not forget our number, and we'll be reaching out to them. Because business will come.
Okay.
We just got to have the
that's
channel
why I say,
open.
you build it, they will come, so that's great. We
Yes.
have just one more segment to come. If you want to know about Foley Islands, please come on back because we're going to save that for last. So come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to The Voice of the Coast. Again, I'm your host, Danica Foley-Long. With me, we have Mac Wade, who is the director with the Port of Morgan City. You may have seen the call underneath, it says MCHTD, that is the Morgan City Harbor and Terminal District. I just want to put that out there because most people say, what is that at the bottom? It doesn't say Port of Morgan. It's the same thing, pretty much. And I said I was going to say Foley Island to the end, so we'll talk about that later. But you guys are also doing something at the dock. You're kind of there's an expansion project there.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we are. Like I mentioned last time, right now we have right at $23 million. There's 2 different projects. There's an east dock for about $5 million expansion, and then there's the west dock expansion. One's 5, one's 20. Well, where's the other 3 million? The port's going to put up about 3 million of our own dollars. We got 5 million from the state for the east dock, and we got 15 million for the west dock. That money is coming from DOTD. Has granted us that money. The 5 million is waiting on us now. We're going through the design phase on the project. We're redesigning it because one thing right now with construction projects, Hurricane Ida has hurt us, we think, on trying to do projects now. Everybody's busy.
Yeah.
The price of steel has soared more than doubled, and we're having them go back and re-engineer. It looks like we can go with concrete piers instead of the steel ones and probably save about $1 million. Wow. And so, well, that's great, save $1 million. The problem is the price of poker is going to go up. All contractors, if they were hungry, Hurricane Ida has got work scattered from here all the way to Bay St. Louis. Every pile driver, everybody like that is going to have all the work they want. Yeah. So you're going to be able to get, they're not hungry right now. Yeah. So we are going back redesigning all this cost savings I thought we might be able to make. We probably won't recognize the full gain, but we're still trying to keep our costs down within our budget number. Yeah. But it's going to be good. It's going to take us at least 3 to 5 years to complete the project. Right. But it is going to give us more than double our footprint. We're going to have almost 2,000 linear foot of waterfront. But it's going to give us plenty of lay down area for the area. We got all these dredges running. We're going to have a channel open, so we need a place to bring the ships in.
That's it. That's exactly what we need. So we got all these projects going. I mean, like I said, I think the number one thing is we want business. We want these people to start coming and start utilizing what we have. I mean, we're going to have an authorized depth of 20
foot.
I mean, that's major. I mean, this is something we've been fighting for a long time.
Well, it's not what they can do on the Mississippi. Everybody doesn't take in 40 or 50,000 metric tons of goods. There's smaller ports that can't handle a ship that's drawing 40, 45 foot. We can take in stuff weighing about maybe 18 to 20 foot draft. We can accommodate that, and there's a big market for that in the Caribbean.
Yes, I love it. Well, this is the time to talk about Foley Island. So how's it looking out there?
Danica, like I mentioned earlier, we had 3 dredges working. The Great Lakes Cutterhead, it is down at Eugene Island right now as we speak. That's only about 4 or 5 miles from Foley Island. He is going to continue to work his way up as he gets out of Eugene Island. And your Foley Island, you're going to probably almost double it in size from what it was. That's around the 142. That's where we know we have significant sand, and then all that material is going to be pumped up and just make Foley Island a lot bigger than it currently is.
And I mean, I've learned so much now. It seems like a lot of our surrounding communities need to kind of learn the same thing. That's where that sand goes. That's where you're able to filter.
Beneficial
island,
use.
You know?
That's right. That's right.
You can have little Foley islands everywhere. One in Home and one in Morgan City. All right. That's all the time we have. Thank you very much. See you guys next time.